Don't worry, folks. That's not coming from the black tank. That's coming from the kitchen gray tank. Is it gross? Oh, absolutely. It's still gross. But it's not as gross as if it were from the black tank. What's going on, y'all? I'm David with RV Family.Life, and we have been dealing with a kitchen gray tank that has been backing up. We've had several problems, several different situations, all kind of compiling at once, needing to be dealt with. Today's issue, I'm thinking that I've got something dreaded in the gray tank. I'm sure if you've been listening to the RV Life, you've probably heard about a poo pyramid that develops in the black tank. That is something that can happen. If you don't take care of your black tank, like oftentimes when people leave the black tank open all the time, it can establish a poo pyramid, which is basically, your number 2 plus a bunch of toilet paper, making it in the shape of a pyramid. It causes a lot of problems for people's black tanks. But I've got something just as dreadful. I have the food pyramid. Oh, I just had to include a little joke there. I mean, it's the food pyramid, right? 11 servings of grain every day. Ha! Anyway, that's besides the point. I can't swear by it yet, as I'm still working on clearing stuff out. What I am doing is I am flushing the gray tank, very similar to how most people would flush the black tank. So what I had noticed, the characteristics I was seeing, was that I was getting just a slow trickle. And then last night, we experienced the sink was backed up again. And I've got that air admittance valve underneath in the island. And I unscrewed that thinking, maybe that's it. That wasn't it. Got a new air admittance valve. That was just fine. But I think we've been letting a little bit too much beef fat, beef particles, egg particles, stuff like that go down the drain and collect. And what I'm believing is going on is that it's built up and kind of blocking the exit. So I've been thinking that I needed to take apart the bottom and look at replacing the gray tank valve. But I am seeing that the gray tank valve is having an effect through this method. So I'm backfilling it from below. And then what that's doing is it's kind of pushing on the stuff that's there. And it's still a problem. This is, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to flush it before I really truly feel comfortable. But I can see when the water starts coming back out after I turn it off. I put about 5 gallons in, and it starts kind of just the normal clear cloudiness. Sure, it's not perfectly clear because it's not great. But then I can start to see when food sediment and different particles start to come down with it. Like, okay, I am definitely breaking something free. And if I close the gray tank, it completely stops because it shuts off any air from letting it come down. And I open it back up again, it allows the air to come through. But it's still a problem. The food particles and sediment, they're preventing anything from coming out. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be flushing my gray tank for a while. All that while cooking dinner, making some donuts for the family. Now this is a really good point, good visual aid. When you're cooking your meat, you see all that fat that's coming out of the meat there, and a lot of it, that juice comes back here. If I take that off and put it, if it gets down to about 60 degrees, that right there will solidify. When I want to discard this, I actually stick that in my fridge on a paper plate in there. I harden that up. Well, I don't want that in my gray tank either. So that is probably a big part of what's going on, big part of the problem. All right, I'm gonna stop talking to y'all for a minute and eat. First, I gotta track down my kids. I thought they were playing Gaga Ball. Maybe they're up doing karaoke. Well, there's one of them. She saw me. Here comes the other one.
Where are you going?
Supper's ready.
Where are you going?
Hey, you see that big old Super C? New Hampshire? It's always fun when you have some friends come back. They were our neighbors last winter, and they're going to be our neighbors again. The only difference is they had an F450 last year and a fifth wheel. Now they got a massive Super C. How exciting. All right, back to dinner. And maybe we'll talk about gray tanks again. I'm full. How you doing?
I'm full.
All right, let's do another flush. I'm probably gonna do this over several days before I'm truly satisfied, so guess I'll have to update y'all later. Close that down. Turn that to tank. I run it for about 1 minute and 20 seconds, and that gives me about 5 gallons. Having one of these gauges has been so useful. Basically counting up the amount of water that's going through there. That really helps when dealing with this kind of stuff. Make sure we get accurate count. All right, my timer went off. Let's go take a look at this. Shut that down. You see the water, it's kind of cloudy, right? And it gets kind of dirty, but then you'll see when the food particles start to come down in there. See, stuff starts to break free, and then it just gets really cloudy. And it's breaking up that stuff that's up in there. That's my real problem. So I'm gonna probably keep on doing this for a number of days until I'm truly satisfied, because it shouldn't be that plugged up right now like that. You can see how it's moving over here, but it should be moving that fast. If I open the other gray tank to the outdoor kitchen, this will just, because it has enough air. So I am just gonna keep on working this until it gets back to where I need it to be, so that I can get the food pyramid out of my RV. You can see where it's finally coming down. It wasn't even doing that earlier. It would completely stop up. So I've had success. We've made a movement. We've had a solid movement. Yeah, earlier in the day when I was doing this, it would get completely stopped because it was clogged up above. And so I would open that other one right there, and then it would allow the whole thing to drain out. And then I would just do the same thing over and over and over again. All right, fun with RV plumbing. Thanks for joining me on this necessary adventure. Supper's all done, sun's going down. Friends are backing in. I'm gonna call it a day. This is what RV life is all about. This is perfect weather too. Texas, November, oh yeah, it's the good stuff. All right, y'all, remember, life happens. Even a food pyramid finding its way into your RV. Don't let food pyramids into your life, people. Go carnivore. Life happens, don't let it stop you. Stay fresh, cheese bags.